Hello, little chatfish, and welcome to another Bunchcast. Today I'm joined by Artemis. Look at that guy. Look. Yeah.
Hi.
Hands. Look at that other guy.
Hi.
Yeah, Rapier.
Hello.
And the God, he sounds so sad.
All right, Eeyore, calm down.
Oh. Here's the Eeyore of our group. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about what we call the streamer tax. Now, the streamer tax is actually a bit broader than what it sounds like, but when we refer to this, if you watched our streams or you know anything, the streamer tax usually is a increased price on a game in order to get a certain unlock. Now, Space Marine 2 had this, but they removed it from the store page. Same for Indiana Jones, same for Dragon Age. But we'll just quickly look at a game right now, just so you see what it looks like. Usually it'll be like these checkmark boxes, right? It's like, this edition comes with the base game, and then a bunch of extras goodies. But usually you'll see that the advanced access is also what they call it too, or early access. Usually they call it advanced because early access has a different connotation these days. And that will give you access for buying a deluxe edition or a special edition for an increased price tag. So Space Marine 2 did this, and one of the big problems with the streamer tax is that it's used to inflate the cost of the game, which is usually already $60, and then on top of being $60, then usually it's a $20 fee or $10 fee extra to get the game early, so they can milk a little bit extra money out of you. Now, the reason why I refer to it as the streamer tax is because streamers, we make our career and living by streaming a video game, and so having advanced access to a product gives you a distinct advantage on the market. So it's a mandatory purchase. You, as a streamer, you really should just buy it. Unless you're what we call at the upper 4 to 3% of streamers, then you can just ignore it altogether. But considering the vast majority of people aren't there, yeah, you gotta have it. You gotta get it early. But we've got a couple of things about this that we're going to talk about, where these games have done this, and sometimes it can be, it's just okay, you just played a little bit earlier, but usually there's always a negative side to it, usually. A, you're paying more money, right? B, the game will have more bugs, like in the case of Indiana Jones, it had bugs, or in the case of Space Marine 2, it had bugs, or certain unfunctional features, because while you did pay for it to get it early, you also paid for the proto version of the actual launch day version. So it's missing features or missing a key launch day patch to fix things. It's just overall just kind of a noisy and annoying thing to have to do to pay for this. And you guys probably have noticed that the streamer tax is becoming a new norm. Now, the one thing we've also noticed with this is that if we look at things like Space Marine 2, right? They've slashed the price because it's on sale, but it's a $60 game, right? Dragon Age Veilguard is also a $60 game, which, again, they usually tack this on as an additional fee. Indiana Jones is a $70 game, and Dynasty Warriors is also a $70 game that did this, as well as the upcoming and has yet to release Sid Meier's Civilization 7. Sid Meier's Civilization is currently at $100 for the early access version of the game, and the base price is also $70. And Avowed, which is another game that's doing this, is at $70 for the basic edition and basically $90 for the premium edition. So what you're noticing is games are closing back to where they used to be. And a long time ago, games used to be like 80 or $90 or whatever. They were super expensive for a brief period in history. And that was bad. That was bad for games industry and bad for
places like Canada and Australia. It was even worse.
Oh yeah, I mean, for them it's even worse because it's their currency is really not nearly as strong as the US dollar, so they have to pay an even more exorbitant fee. Now, this is bad because what it is doing is it means that people aren't going to buy these games, right? It's bad for the studio because the studio is going to not do very well. In the case of Dragon Age Veilguard, that's not so much the case because the game is bad, right? In the case of Space Marine 2, it didn't really affect things as negatively because it was only $60 to begin with, so you'll notice that a lot of people actually picked it up. It's also Warhammer 40k, and, it's got a very popular following. But in the case of another popular IP, Indiana Jones, right, its reviews didn't do very well in terms of, the game was received critically well because it is a good game. It is how did I put this? It is as respectful as it gets to modern-day Indiana Jones interpretations, which is very good. However, that $70 price tag is too steep for many people. And the issue with the streamer tax is that the streamer tax very much correlates with a lot of these games being increased prices, because this is usually done by AAA. What it probably indicates is a masking of trying to get people to accept the normality of raising games to $70. Now, in the case of Indiana Jones, it ultimately failed, but it also means that this game, despite being good and actually worth picking up, is not going to be picked up by a lot of people, and rightfully so, because the game is overpriced. No game should be $70. It's just ludicrous, like, in terms of charging that much money for a digital game. You're not getting a box, you're not getting a book, you're not getting a statue, you're not getting a disc, you're not getting anything cool or physical. You're just paying for a digital copy of that product. That's just really it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Now, about all of these things, it's going to come down to what's the word? It's going to come down to, again, pricing of the base product. It's going to come down to the my brain just slipped the word, the streamer tax, right? But as you can see, there's a very distinct difference between Space Marine 2 and Indiana Jones, right? Both of these games did the streamer tax thing, but you know, one is a huge, massive success. One is a failure, right? And that's not good. That's bad. That means we're going to get less good games, because if this fails, that means that, you know, this idea dies out with it, usually. Very rare cases do you get games that are commercial failures that get sequels. Very rare. And so, yeah. Now, we're going to go through our host of guests in alphabetical order, because it's easier for me to do it that way. And see,
I'm first.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid he goes left to right, like it shows on the fucking screen where chat's viewing it. That is right, he is a cripple.
I'm working my way back towards me.
It's right to left.
Well, but Kibbs, at that point, if you're going to go with the cripple argument, you started with yourself on the left.
Look at how mad he is, because he's you're in the middle. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
You're
that's
the same, regardless.
Which means I am the most unbiased opinion.
Hold up. If we're going in alphabetical order, the only person that starts before me is Aerith, and you went first, Gibbs.
Hold on a second. ARIART. Okay, I see what you did.
Get fucked.
I was like, they're both
Yours had
A's,
to
the
turn
second
for a little
letter.
bit.
Both R's, the third letter. Oh.
All right, so Gibbs has admitted he's Aerith for the 50th time.
Not admitted. Segued, shoehorned, whatever word you were using.
Heavily implied. There.
Heavily implied. As subtle as some of the fan fiction kids will have to read.
Darn.
Oof,
That's
yikes.
true, chat.
Cringe.
For Make the
Thinly
Weekly,
veiled.
kids will read the latest Yingless fanfic.
Make the weekly chat. Do it.
Otherwise,
Do
you'll
it.
burn it. I'll print out the sheets of paper, then burn it. And
That's a
record it, and
lot of
then
effort. I don't even have a print.
All right. So you want me to go over my opinion on the streamer tax?
Yeah. What is your opinion? What is your theory? Because really, we only have theories to go off of as to why the streamer tax is a thing.
So my theory of what's going on is like several fold. If the companies had not experienced COVID, I don't think stream tax would have been so heavily pushed in the first place. But since they've been losing so much money and a lot of the investments drying up, they've had to vocate different forms of revenue in order to increase their stock value.
That makes sense.
And so everything originates from that need, as all of these fucking companies are starting to fire people. And the reason they're firing people is because they're not making their revenue marks. And so all you're seeing is cost saving and profit increase methods.
Okay.
And so as we start doing the streamer tax thing, it's just a leveraging system to make and normalize higher priced games, to force people to just accept that, oh, you know, everybody's doing it. Why not? My friends are the ones fucking getting on early because they're streamers. I want to play with my friends, so I'll buy the streamer taxed one too. And so at some point you'll start seeing normalized $70 games. And then the next streamer tax will be $80 instead of the $70. until I would say they're gonna probably they want games to be $80 minimal.
Yeah, it does feel like they want to push back towards 80.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my thought process, and so all the actions are stemming from those drastic needs to make profit.
Okay.
Regardless if they're right or wrong.
It definitely correlates, like it all adds up, because the big thing is that, yeah, they want to increase their sales, increase their profits, increase their stocks, because a lot of these companies are publicly owned, and so that is a big focus.
Honestly, I feel like that was actually one of the big death knells of gaming in general, is a lot of those companies going public.
Usually it starts off good because, like, wow, this brings in a lot of money. Like when we saw Westwood getting picked up by EA, originally that saved Westwood and allowed Westwood to make like Command & Conquer Continue. However, as time goes on, things change, and as the market expands, they want to see bigger sales, and when they, see trends like the arena shooters, they want them to make an arena shooter, or they see the MOBA trend, they want them to make it a MOBA, or they see mobile games, they want them to make mobile games. So they follow where the money goes rather than making a good product, and that's usually what happens to a lot of these studios, whether it's a publisher or whether it's publicly owned, and so things end up getting shifted over. Excuse me. Now, Hans, how do you feel about the whole streamer tax?
I do think it is profit-oriented, like Artemis was saying, but on top of that, I think one of the other things they're trying to utilize is just the... Well, he did kind of say it, but he didn't use the word FOMO, where basically, for some people that have no impulse control, it's like, oh, hey, that's the new game. When do I need to play it as early as I can? And so they just put that behind a price gate. But the thing he didn't mention that I'm going to bring up is we actually kind of saw something like this way back when. I don't know how many of you remember the store Blockbuster, but something like this did happen during Blockbuster's era, where initially stuff was cheap, but they wanted to get more money, so they charged a little bit more, which made some customers not want to come, which made them raise prices again and created a terrible feedback loop. Where I remember when at least I personally stopped going to Blockbuster, it was getting close to like $20 to $25 to rent a game, because like at that point I could just save up for a bit and buy a game instead of just renting it. But eventually that entire fucking market crashed because they kept doing that terrible fucking feedback loop until it was too late. And I feel like that's kind of where this might be going if they don't have an idea of, okay, we have to stop right here. But I don't think they will, because they're big corporations that want money. So I feel they're just going to keep pushing it until the market doesn't want it anymore, and then at that point, people are just going to have that negative association with that type of stuff. That's my thought.
I mean, it's probably right. The big thing is, like what we always believe with the streamer tax thing, is that there's a multiple facets as to why to do it, or why these corporations want to do it. And the big thing is that they lose really nothing from doing it, because there isn't really a massive... There's no pushback, for the most part, against this. I mean, Space Marine 2 did it, Dragon Age the Veilguard did it, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle did it, Dynasty Warriors did it just recently. A lot more games are going to be doing it, and it's been ongoing for a while now, and it doesn't seem to have any negative pushback. It's sort of like, when Arrowhead basically did the Sony requirement thing, and then made it so that you had to do the Sony account registration. That came up, but it wasn't originally part of the original deal. When people bought the game, they didn't see that, and so it immediately led to a massive pushback, which then shifted them to not do it. But it's ironic, because so many games still make you do that, and so at the end of the day, while there was pushback for Arrowhead's Sony sign-in bullshit, for the most part, most games still have that mandatory, and will have it mandatory going forward. The industry didn't change. At the end of the day, it wasn't a big victory. It was a small win, but it's still a win nonetheless for the community. But yeah. Next up we have is El Chumba, also known as Rapier Kamigawa.
So, more or less agree with what Artemis and Hans have already said. Just to branch off that a bit more, I would say also partially to boost pre-order sales and numbers, because then they can use that as indicator. They're like, oh, look at how popular and big our upcoming stuff is. Look how many people are pre-ordering it. I'm like, it's not even out yet, because they can say that. Along with that, with Hand said with the FOMO, which is definitely something that they're trying to make use of, and we can kind of see that with the trend. It seems to be that they're increasing how long you get to have the early access period, because it was like 2 days, and then it was 3 days, and now we're seeing ones that are 5 days early access. And that'll probably just keep trending like that until basically it's like, oh, do you want to play the game like 2 weeks early? Well, you've got to pre-order and buy the special edition, which the special edition also you have to buy the basically season pass with the game, which then also is boosting their DLC sales, they can say.
Mm-hmm.
So it ultimately is just trying to boost sales and trying to exploit FOMO, and we're going to see them probably push that aspect more going forward. And, well, like we said already, trying to normalize the higher prices.
Yep. Because it does appear that all three of you, I think, are definitely on point here. Like, it looks good for investors. It looks like things are making more money than they normally otherwise would, because the people that would buy it still will buy it when it comes out, and they're getting a little bit of extra kickback because they, well, if you want it early, you can pay a little extra to get it early. And this is going to see a new evolution in marketing, because it is not being pushed back against. Ultimately, there is no negative pushback. So that means that going forward, this is going to start to be normalized. So you're going to have to get used to it. Now, the big thing, whether or not the $70 or $60 thing will make it, right? Space Marine 2, $60. Very good success. Dragon Age Veilguard, $60. Still outperforming Indiana Jones, which is a better game, but they pushed $70 here. So I'm not so sure if the $70 price hike will actually make it through here, because again, $70. Dynasty Warriors received, again, also pretty positive, 94%, and the Indiana Jones game, 91%. These games are very well received statistically. But we're going to have to see if this $70 price tag is what is making Dynasty Warriors it's already kind of a niche thing in the West, but I would have expected it to be a lot higher for the Eastern market, but it's actually not.
Dynasty Warriors and Indiana Jones are a bit of special cases, both of them, because Indiana Jones, yes, that was a really big IP, but the last couple movies have really soured people on it.
True, it has deflated the fandom.
Indiana Jones is an IP I put in the same category as Terminator, where it feels like a really tired franchise.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It does feel exhausted, because anytime they make something, usually it's bad, right? The Crystal Skull was not received particularly well, even though it had some moments. And then the latest Indiana Jones movie, which I hadn't even bothered seeing, was received incredibly poorly. And so there is a correlation to fatigue, right? Even in Star Wars products.
Because you actually brought this up earlier. It's like, well, why did Space Marine 2 succeed where Indiana Jones failed? Where it's like, whether you like to admit it or not, Warhammer, I wouldn't put it in the same category as a tired IP.
It doesn't have a lot of fatigue. It feels like it's actually blooming right now in terms of it's becoming mainstream in the process right now.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like it's going to be very IP specific or game dependent on whether or not it's going to succeed or fail at the $20 price tag, at least right now.
Mm-hmm.
And with Dynasty Warriors, that is a niche title, the Warriors series.
But dedicated fan base.
Yes. But along with that, even with the dedicated fan base, they have a history of really bad PC ports for their games.
True. And so that might also, because we do have to look at the extenuating factors here, right? Because $70 games, I think, so far have yet to really get any traction. But it does seem that the industry is not backing down from that stance, because, well, we have another $70 upcoming game in 3 weeks, and after that, and a couple months, we've got fucking Avowed, which is another $70 game again, right?
Both of which pushing the 5-day early access period.
Yep.
Like I was joking before stream started, like chat, I want you to imagine after a certain point that the early access stuff is going to give you like 2 weeks before the actual release.
And
Yeah.
at that point,
It
is
might
that a
happen.
value?
Yeah,
Especially in like games where
like a progression is a thing.
correct, like Call of Duty, where the guns you have to unlock further up are more like faster
Because
killing.
if that's the case, the hardcore players of those franchises, it's not an option. There
Yeah.
is, you play the game as soon as you can. So you could
Yep.
get on the treadmill, so you could be at the top of the leaderboard.
Yep. Especially
Mhm.
for, well, I don't really care for esports stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
The esport, like, it's not just a streamer tax. Anyone who wants to play competitively and seriously, and for money, for that matter, needs to
World's
buy
first,
it.
Kibbs.
Yeah. Pretty much. So this,
Mhm.
yep.
Yes, all the people
Records.
that want to beat the dungeon first and get their name up in the history books, they're gonna do it.
What do they call? What do they call those types of guilds in MMOs? I forget, like World First or something.
Yep. That's what Bucky just said.
Thanks, Hands. Thanks for letting us know.
Every time there's an expansion or new raid or dungeon that launches in like a big MMO, there's
I'm
world
not gonna
first
lie, I
guilds.
couldn't quite hear what he said. That's why I said that.
Where guilds
yeah,
are
it's
rushed to basically complete the content as quickly as possible to get the title and the prestige.
Oh, aren't those guilds called World's First?
That's what they.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Nice.
Before I forget,
I told you
because
about
it was
that.
mentioned in chat by what is it? Yeah, Panazon. Dynasty Wars is apparently $80 in Europe, or 80 euro.
Mm.
Damn.
Get fucked, yo.
And
cucks.
I
So,
guess it's
Euro
soccer.
right now is slightly stronger than the dollar. Actually, hold on. Google.
But he's saying it's $82 apparently the conversion.
For the base game or the
base.
Okay, no,
that'd
no.
be
Right,
weaker.
right now, it's 1 USD to 0.97 euros.
Okay, so the euro's better actually.
It is slightly weaker than the dollar.
It's also more
No.
expensive in
It's stronger.
PLN,
It's
according to
stronger.
Jano.
You're reading it wrong, Hans. You're being Kibbs right now with math.
Yeah.
If Jano is saying if that 320 is for the base game, then for Jano it's $77 for Dynasty Warriors.
So the PLN is stronger.
Damn Polish.
No, for the base game or the advanced thing. If it's the base game, it's
Base game.
Oh yeah, the PLNs
I'm
are
assuming.
going to be weaker than the dollar. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because 320.
No. Well, yes, obviously. Yes,
Basic
I understand.
math.
No.
Bucky's new
you're right.
weakness.
I did do some reading that. Yes, I did.
Let's see.
But
Yeah,
the
320
purchasing
base
power
game,
is also
413
weaker.
for the deluxe.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the purchasing power parity is weaker as well.
Yeah, it's $100 for the deluxe for him.
Oof.
Yuff. That's awful. But yeah, welcome to Dream Gillies. But back to the topic at hand. When it comes to the whole fucking price raising thing and the whole
Mhm.
streamer tax, it's for many people it might seem not as insidious as it really is, but it is bad. And the reason why it is bad is because A, it normalizes increasing the price of the game beyond 60, which is already archaic pricing as is. I remember exactly when the digital age was beginning and the AAA companies told us that $60 was actually going to be a thing of the past because the benefits of digital production is that they wouldn't have to worry about manufacturing, shipping, and all that, and storage. So now games should be coming down to 50 and 40, where they should be for digital releases. However, this never actually happened. As time went on, they kept the prices at 60 and then began to tease the idea of increasing it to 70 as a preliminary to get to their ultimate goal, which is 80. And they do lots of tactics to normalize this. Like looking at what I'm looking at right now with the Sid Meier's Civilization page, $70 for the base price. You know, the deluxe isn't just 80; it's on 100. It's $30 more. And then for the early access and the season pass, basically, it's up $129.99. It's basically
It's another 30.
it's Yep, it's another 30, but it's double the pricing of a standard game.
Ultimately, you're paying basically for 2 games.
It is the price of 2 games, and realistically, the price should be 40. So this is pretty bad. This is the more extreme case. Now with things like Avowed, again, another big AAA publisher, Xbox Game Studios, with developers Obsidian. But again, you'll notice that the standard price is $70 here, and for the Avowed Premium Edition is $90. Not just a $10 increase, a $20 increase. So they're again pushing this idea of getting it a few days earlier, because
No, not a few. Literally right there. It says
5.
up to 5 days.
5.
And it's 5 business days. So
Yeah.
what that really means is it's actually putting it out 1 week in advance to allow for 1 week early access, to create a social pressure to get you to buy it. Much like FOMO, they're using the social strata to pressure you into purchasing something. And now, while this is a single player game in the same way that Indiana Jones or Dynasty Warriors was, Sid Meier's Civilization is not necessarily a single player game, nor was Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2 is a cooperative game that is up to 3 players co-op, and also boasts a PvP multiplayer. I think that's up to 16 players. I don't remember %. But either way, so there's going to be a social strata pressure as well on the players or your buddies, to get them to buy it as well, or to buy it for them, to basically get you guys to fork over more money so that they can appeal to their investors and be like, look, our game is even doing better than what it normally would do, because each purchase is, or maybe 1 in 10 purchases, purchase the premium edition to get it early. And assuming it's that high to begin with, but if it is even close to that, that's an insane amount of money. When you look at, hundreds of thousands of people buying it, and 1 in 10 are paying an additional $20, that stacks up very quickly. Over 100 people, that stacks up to,
It's a increase in profit
$100.
margin. That is not, so it's a because there's no additional cost to make the game already, just increasing the fucking price just to add in a couple of extra days when the code's already done is a tantalizing increase in profit that a company wouldn't miss a chance to implement into their system. That's why once these streamer tax games started going, all of the fucking companies started jumping onto it.
Oh, that's allowed now? We can do that?
Yeah, because the first person to pull that trigger took the first step, and they didn't get crucified to death. So
Yep.
That means
Now-
it's socially acceptable.
On that note of getting any kind of backlash, Avowed apparently has been getting massive backlash, to the point of I've heard rumors now that they will be removing the early access.
Is that
it's
so?
too late.
They've also completely nuked their community hub. It doesn't even exist, the Steam community hub anymore.
Doing that is even worse. I mean, this particular game, that's sinking ship right there. But the issue is that while that is getting its backlash, which is good, but it's probably just like Helldivers. It's an isolated backlash incident. Will it bleed over to Sid Meier's Civilization? If it does, that is a good thing. That is a purely good thing with a capital G, due to the fact that means that there will be a new trend of other people pushing back. The issue is that my theory on that is that it's an isolated incident due to all the drama surrounding Avowed and its development.
It might be, more than likely.
Because in the case of Helldivers 2, the backlash against the Sony sign-in function was specifically because it was always there, but it didn't quite function, so it got pulled back, and then people had forgotten about it, and then they put it back in when they fixed it, and by doing that, people were hit with a massive surprise, and on top of that, the 130 country ban list as well. And so,
Which is still in effect, if I remember
yes,
right,
and if you combine, yes, it is. If you combine both those factors, that's a major issue, right? But in the reality, Microsoft games, like with Halo, the community event we're going to do later today, there was no pushback. You still have to sign into your Microsoft account to play. And with most games, you have to sign into your account to play, and you have to have a separate account for many things. It's pretty standardized. It's universally accepted. It wasn't in that case because the developers had managed to wiggle a little bit saucily in a way that made people very upset. So, yeah. I don't think that this is going to really stop the early access things unless it snowballs or creates a sort of like domino effect and it happens to another game, right? And the $70 price point, like it feels so bad. It's just the games are getting more and more expensive. And then on top of that, they add the streamer tax nonsense, which then inflates the cost even further, right? So that each game is pushing like a fucking 100, which is just like, Jesus Christ. It's a video game. Why is it $100? Movies aren't even that expensive. It's like $15 for a movie.
I think this is another one of those things where, again, like, people are getting fired, they're getting let go, and this is an act of desperation more than anything else.
Trying to inflate the monies to keep the studio afloat, do you think?
Yep.
Possibly.
I mean, that's true.
Because of the post-COVID, world and all the lost potential profits and the cost of keeping the store, the studios open. A lot of the acquisitions Microsoft did for other fucking development studios. Like, there's a lot of recouping that needs to be done in order to keep these fucking lights on. So, I think it's a desperation move, but also has the tangible benefit if it's pulled off to increasing the overall acceptable dollar amount charging in the industry. So that's why these companies are fine with going along with it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna see. In that regard. Jano gives some membership. Thank you very much. SF, Sandwich, and Darkside 2.
Harlot also donated at the start of the stream.
And thank you for the gift of membership, Harlot, as well. Very much appreciated. Now let's see. There were some ads earlier, so I'm just gonna scroll up because we don't make everyone pay to read. So let's see. Pondazen said now I don't know if you got this one. The new Dynasty Warriors game is more expensive in Europe. Oh yeah, we did that one.
Yes, we went over that.
Jeff
he mentioned it
says
as 80
the only game I would buy this copy is games with multiplayer being in focuses. I want and wanting to play with friends or guys like you, says Nissin. Yeah, the multiplayer games, that's a big component, right? And so that's gonna play a part in the upcoming Sid Meier's Civilization game, because there is a big competitive scene for Sid Meier's Civilization. At least I think there is. And there's a lot of like multiplayer focus in games like this. At least from my always interpretation, a single player Sid Meier's Civilization game is a okay experience, but you mostly play these games to play with friends and sort of hang out, right? The same goes for Space Marine 2. I mean, you can play it by yourself.
The Civ you can, but the majority of the Civ player base is single.
Yeah.
I played a lot of that multiplayer, but maybe that was just me.
You can, but I'm just saying the bulk of the player base is single player.
But yeah, then you also have Spunk Marines, and Spunk Marines has a big multiplayer focus, and I mean a genuinely big focus because of the PvP aspect and the fact that the campaign is completely built with.
Yeah, honestly, even the campaign is geared towards you play with two of your buddies.
Yep, it's actually a multiplayer focus game with a single player element tacked on, meaning that you can play solo if you want. And this was a complete letdown. I still wish Bucky had joined us for it. The little shit, he weaseled out. You would have gotten really sick of the fucking melee combat.
Yeah, they've been talking about $70 before COVID.
See, I had two thumbnails made because I didn't know if he was gonna make it, and like, of course he doesn't fucking like join us in mid through it, so he just fucking sits there. Little shit. He dodged a bullet. It wasn't very good. The multiplayer I think was the most fun part about that, but it was just like so. It's very average.
The time to kill looked very quick.
It's very average. Very disappointing game.
Also, it seemed like there was a very set, use this composition, get best results.
They might have fixed that, but yeah, it was kind of feeling like that. Well,
I've only played the tutorial.
About is woke, says I mean, probably yes, but find that funny.
Also, did you respond to Todd's comment, Kibbs?
Oh, did I miss another? See, I'm still scrolling.
No, Kibbs, I just read it out a second ago, but you didn't say anything.
Oh, read it again.
He said, to be honest, they've been talking about $70 before COVID. Remember extra credits video. Yes, they've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Yep. I mean, they've been wanting to increase the prices for a while. Remember, originally when they went digital, the idea that they tried to coax people into accepting the removal of physical copies as the norm was the idea that a game will become cheaper. That's a lie.
Except they never wanted to do that.
I distinctly remember that.
The games will
What they
become
actually
cheaper because they
wanted
don't have to worry
was
about
to
physical
reduce cost of
boxes.
production and increase profit margin.
Yes, and now they want to increase profit margin again by increasing the overall cost of the game. Again, because they are doing worse in terms of their own sales and the inflation of expectations of executives and
Which is literally
shareholders.
why I brought
And
up.
the
It's literally why I brought up Blockbuster, because that was what happened to them. Things started cheaper, but they wanted more money, so they made things more expensive. But what actually happened is they lost a percent of people every single time they hiked up to the price, and to the point they just collapsed.
it doesn't help that the AAA companies are extremely bloated,
There's a lot
and
of
so
stuff.
they
actually-
need to keep trying to raise the price to even make ends meet.
Because I
pretty much.
know it's different per studio, but from what I remember looking into it, there is a drastic increase in like the marketing of the game, which drastically bloats the cost for the studio.
Yeah, I think I've seen similar things.
I don't want to say exact numbers because I don't remember the numbers that I looked at.
Okay. Thaddeus says Microsoft published games all have it now, to try to lure Game Pass subscribers to double dip. Oh, that's so mean. So the Game Pass thing may look simple and like a good deal, and to a degree it can be if used correctly.
If you just want to play a game once, it's a great deal.
Yeah, we just pay a couple bucks and you just rent the game and then you want to install it, done. But the big thing is the goal of that is actually more insidious. The idea is to make you pay a subscription fee to play a grand access of library so they can milk you over a long course of time. But what the reality is you're still going to buy the games you actually really like. And so you're actually losing in this deal quite badly. Remember, these deals aren't meant for you to actually profit from or benefit
and
from.
the worst thing is, at that point, there's actually two actors in that equation. Because if you're just buying a game, there's you and then the company you're buying the game from. But now, since there's a storefront, there's the publisher, the storefront, and you in that equation.
Yep. And so the big idea is that, okay, you'll pay a couple bucks, because that's how they get you, right? You pay like maybe $5 or whatever a month, and
or
then
if you want the
you get
extra
access to
premium
like,
ones,
well, hold on, you get access to like 20 or like hundreds of games, right? And then you get access to early games that before they come out, and you play them early, like Space Marine 2. Like you play that and you're like, oh, I really liked that, and then you pay another $60 or $70 to buy that game. And then so they get another influx of cash, and then all you need to do that is like a couple of times, and because you're paying a monthly subscription fee, you're now doing more because you naturally wouldn't have bought those games to begin with. A lot of the games you're going to play with that service are games that you may never have tried or would never have tried in any other formula, meaning that what you were interested in, you were likely going to buy to begin with, and usually people have an idea of what they like or what their interests are before doing that. So the reality is that they're just gouging you for an extra $5 and then accrue that over a year. You know, it's gonna start stacking up, and not just with you, but now they're doing that to, you know, thousands of people. And so they're actually pulling in a lot of money for a exchange of relatively low numbers. This is why a lot of AAA studios, or not AAA, AA and indies, aren't actually big fans of being on the Game Pass. But what Microsoft will try to do to rope them into this a deal too is they'll offer a flat sum of money. Now this is actually bad for a lot of indies, but it can be good because you'll get a huge influx of money. But if your game is like a story game, and it's usually story games, people will play through it once, usually, at the very least, right? You hope. And if it's really good, people might play through it a second time, or maybe again later in like a month or a year's time. But usually, if it's on that subscription fee service, they're gonna not really feel like going out of the way to buy it again because they played it once. And I know this because I've asked a lot and I've talked to a lot of you guys, and when it comes to a lot of these story-based RPGs or things like that, you're gonna buy it once, or these horror experiences, you're gonna play it once, and then you're probably gonna move on with your life because there's no real desire to revisit these particular games. And so in the end, that's why a lot of those studios end up regretting those deals, because it ends up actually hurting them in the long run, because what would have been a sale or a purchase was rolled into a flat sum rather than anything else. Good night, Abaddon.
Sleep well. Jeff Sneedstein is saying, says, I don't know if I told you guys, but the creator of Stellar Blade said the reason he increased the price to $70 was because he didn't want his game to be seen as an indie game, but a AAA game. I
That
have
is a
actually seen that.
That is disgusting.
horrible fucking philosophy.
I will say this, since you're saying, like, if he actually said that, I am very much inclined to think that that is not the actual reason.
Spunky Monkey
From
donuts.
what I remember,
Oh, go ahead.
read the donut first.
Okay, donates $2 and says, Kip, don't forget wokeness. I don't forget wokeness. I don't think I've ever forgotten it. When you see it, it's there and it's stinky and a ticky, right? The games we have above us, there was, I think, accusations of Space Marine 2 has some more form of wokeness. I hadn't investigated, so I can't comment.
Yes.
Veilguard does have it for sure. This has
for Space Marine 2,
Okay.
there is technically a bit, because if
Isn't it the Custody or something, or Inquisitor
there
or
is
whatever?
the female custodies, but there's also the fact
Okay.
that there's a black Ultramar Marine.
Yeah, and that's not how Gene Seed works. Yep.
Well, Black and the Asian also.
Yeah, because
yeah.
They're supposed to look like the Primarch.
the Primarch's
Yes.
Gene Seed supersedes their own biology and converts
Even if
them.
they were like of a different collection, like they would as the result of it. Like,
They look like little
look
versions
like-
of the Primarch, yes.
To
Yeah.
be fair, GW I don't think has really ever actually used that bit of the lore. They've always ignored it as far as I'm aware.
Yep. And so that's why it's one of those issues like it's like iffy. The female custodies thing is probably more likely. But the next one, yeah, Dragon Age Veilguard, that goes without fucking saying. Indiana
Literally,
Jones, The Great Circle
yeah.
does have elements of wokeness in it. But they're so inoffensive, they're completely ignorable for the most
They're
part.
kind of, from what I remember from the stream and just catching bits and pieces, it was more like a throwaway thing, like a couple lines.
It was like tacked on, and it felt like it was out of place. And I'll specifically describe the scene because it's you go to Egypt and Cairo, or Cairo? I don't know. No, not Cairo. What's the place next to the pyramids? I forget the name of it. Either way, you go there, and there's a girl, and she says that she's a lesbian, basically. She basically outs herself as gay. Now, while there always have been gay people throughout history, that would be incredibly stupid for a character to say that publicly in the Middle
especially
East.
to someone that's
Even today,
and that time period, yeah.
not even in that time. Today, it'd just be as ill-advised. If you are gay and you go to the Middle East, you should be quiet for your own safety and wellness, to just not run into issues, so to speak. But yeah, so that was the only thing of this basically 30-hour game that had it, and it was about, I think, like a minute, 60 seconds. So it was kind of like cringe, and then it moved on. It seemed fairly contained. But Dynasty Warriors, I didn't see a single fucking sliver of it.
It's the exact same thing. It's always
Sid
been,
Meier's
which is
Civilization
just-
does have it in form of some of the leaders, yes, from what I remember. Avowed, yes. I don't know anything about Kingdom Come Deliverance because it's not out yet, so we'll find out later.
Yeah,
the
that's a
biggest
wait and
thing
see.
I've seen in Dynasty Warriors Origins is there's a few characters that look like or not exactly.
Here's
It's
you're gonna say feminine, than a male.
they're very feminized males.
I will point out this to you, Tans. That is not new. That has always been the way in Dynasty
I was
Warriors.
about to say no. Asia has always had that twink boy look thing
Oh,
that they've
yes.
liked.
That's
Yeah,
not,
the
so it's not a
femboy.
woke thing with Dynasty Warriors. That's literally
That's
them
the
being the
culture.
same way it's always been.
You know. But yeah, that's what I was getting at. That's the only thing I've noticed. But like even noticing that, like that's been a thing for a while.
That's
It just makes it
actually I remember that in this characters that were like that in Dynasty Warriors 3.
it's just one of those things where it's just like you're talking. It's like, yeah, no, that chick, that's a dude. It's like, okay, whatever.
But yeah. So no, we never forget those elements, but I don't think they're particularly important in this particular
They're
conversation.
also not like relevant for the industry wide issue of more and more companies that don't have wokeness in them are starting to do this.
Yep. So the big thing is, okay, well, let's talk about this briefly. But wokeness. Wokeness is a temporary illness that will subside and is already in the process of subsiding. It's going to go away. It was never going to last. Nobody here believes that, I think. That was a permanent thing. And
No, there was always the it'll get over eventually. It's just how long.
yep, and
Yeah.
so it's already beginning to fade into irrelevance. And there'll be a new thing to replace it.
There always is.
Who knows? Maybe the fucking satanic panic will return. You never know. But
Satan will rise again.
you never know, right? But usually when the pendulum swings, things shift back and forth, right? So you can expect this stuff to continue to subside and continue to die away as it looks like it is doing. But the big thing that isn't going to die away is actually more concerning than woke. Woke is a blemish that is going to fade with time. What isn't going to fade with time and is only going to get worse is actually industry practices. These are far more important than politics. Always have been and always will be. Because this shit isn't like a popular fad or like something of the time. It's permanent. It's going to be stuck on the games forever. Once $70 finishes its normalization, congratulations. $80 is next because you said it was okay. And because you said it was okay, next up is 90. And the inflation of these things will not stop. You will not be getting more bang for your buck. The games will not be getting bigger or better. They're just going to continue to inflate the price because they can continue to get away with it because you've shown that you're more concerned on other subjects. This is why it's incredibly important that everybody focuses on business practices, because these things, unlike this fad shit, are permanent. They're going to be here after it's gone, after it's done, and we'll be stuck with it forever, right? Like this streamer tax stuff, the FOMO stuff we've talked about, these are already permanent. These are going to get worse.
Yep. The
And-
big thing is just to not give in to FOMO, because even if you really want a game, it honestly is more often than not just better to wait a little and get it on sale, because usually the game will have patches down the road anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
So
FOMO
the less people
mentality,
buy
yeah.
on release and buy like the high price version, that's the only way to really get this trend to stop,
But it won't stop.
or at
That's
least
the
go
problem.
down.
It'll only incentivize the gaming companies to do it more. Because now you've stuck with the high price game, and then they do more FOMO on top of that.
The big thing is that these big price games, how they normally see it, from their point of view, because like let's sit in their chair for just a second. From their point of view, the game sells well enough on its initial day with the $7 price tag attached. Then they're like, okay, that's great. And then the game's grace days and the days when it falls out of the limelight, it will get a trickle of sales when they lower the cost, because they already factor in the people that buy it when it goes on sale. You're already factored for. They're planning for you to do that then. And that's okay, if you want to play a game or buy a game. But you got to remember how these people actually think, right? Like, they make it. That's why they're, like, for example, like, let's go back to Sid Meier's Civilization, right? That's why the $100 version exists. That's because they know the streamers and the actual big budget, or not big budget, the professional players and stuff like that, and the people who want to be the first ofs and stuff, they're all gonna have to buy it at the $100 price tag. They've got you hooked in. If you're a super big fan of the series, they've got you hooked in there. They don't need everyone to buy that. It was never meant for all of you. This is what was meant for all of you, right? Or at least the first wave of you. Then they've already pre-factored in the sales prices for when the game goes on sale, and they have a general idea when that is planned to be. They're going to put this game on sale. They know they're going to do it, and they're like, okay, and then we can increase the sales and get another sales spike out of it once, we've gotten everybody that's, at this point that was going to buy it, and anyone else who's going to buy it is going to be waiting for a sale and will not buy it until a moment that it goes on sale. Then they're going to do the sale, and then the sale is going to get those other remaining people. That's how they, they're at no point are they losing anything from this. At this point, this is exactly what they want to begin with. It's always part of their plan, little Chatfish. Remember, Chatfish, these developers have planned this stuff out in advance. They normally have a game plan.
Yep, there are people that are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars every
To
year
figure that out.
to figure out how to fuck you over.
Yep, because the people that were going to wait for a sale that have already factored you. The people who are going to pirate, you haven't actually found a workaround at all. You're just a part of the equation.
You're literally a part of the statistics of people that will never buy to them.
As
Will we lose
an
a month?
As an anti-piracy agent or former anti-piracy agent, you were already factored from day one. There was at no point have you actually rebelled against any system. You're just playing you're just part of the statistics.
You're just in the expected parameters of their calculations.
So usually the only, like, as far as the anti-piracy side was concerned, wasn't even concerned with stopping pirates. You know what it was actually concerned with? Stopping casuals. People who can't get past the first page of Google because they're too dumb. Because the vast majority of people go to page 2.
If not too dumb, too lazy.
Yep, and so it's mostly just search removal prioritization, right? And making sure that the official stuff appears at the top and the unofficial stuff appears at the bottom of search results, and just accessibility and visibility, I guess is the actual word, visibility.
It would be visibility.
Because that is actually the job of an anti-piracy agent, is to increase visibility of the official project over visibility of the other product. Now, it's entirely up to the studio to make that product more accessible or less of an inconvenience to access. So by increasing $70, they're increasing the piracy number threshold, but they've already factored you in. And believe it or not, and I know this sounds dumb, and I don't agree with it, and I'm just simply saying what they think, right? But the big thing is that they also factor in how to profit off pirates as well, and they have a thing for that. It's stupid, but they've got it. Because they've already begun looking into how to monetize piracy. That was ongoing research being conducted when I was there.
I just remember hearing stories back in the day of what developers did is they would intentionally leak like a cracked version of the game, but when you got to the end, it would like brick the system or basically just make it inoperable like later into the game. But because that was the first one to be released, that's usually the one that the lazy people went to.
Yeah, because the pirates will circulate it and it'll be like a virus. And then it'll be in circulation, and now everyone won't trust it. It's basically like creating a landmine. Jeffers are like, big dinkies. Well, thank you, Kibbs, that I am considered on your metrics not being dumb. No, it's not the point of dumb or smart. The entire point of the metrics is that this is how studios think.
Different types of people are taken into account.
And it's not just video games. Movie industry does this. The educational industry does this.
Selling a product, they do this.
Yep. It's to factor in the potential losses and the potential profit factors. And then trying to figure out how to maximize the profit factor as much as possible.
Yeah, you've ever heard, was it the Ford recall calculation?
Yeah,
no, I
basically,
haven't heard that one.
is it even worth their time to like do a recall? Yes, no. I think they're also taking into account like the opinion of the company, and it's going to take a dip if like a certain like messed up calculation or like part problem is going to hurt them or not.
Yeah, whether or not you're paying out the death lawsuits that they're liable for versus the amount of money it'll take to recall something is
an actual calculation.
Yep.
And if one is lower than the other, guess which one the company is going to do. Rifford has been a member for 24 months as a bubble cultist. Who started the $70 trend? Hashtag Star Sector. I don't think it was any one specifically. It's just historically, games.
I mean, there
used to be
was
very expensive.
There was the first game that did the $70 thing, but that was I don't know what the first game was, because I know for a fact that I remember Hogwarts Legacy being $70, and that was about a year ago. I can't remember when the first $70 game I experienced.
No, sure.
Then.
There's always going to be the first game, but like what I more mean is, I'm pretty sure this has been like an industry talk.
It was
like,
2 years ago.
Between
It came out 2023, right?
So, let me go find it.
Chatfish doing big thinkies. Bucky's little squirrel hands clacking away at his little keyboard.
You know, mechanical, optic keyboard gives.
Yes, you're one.
Also,
of them. We know.
Rifford.
Yes.
Okay, Wind Commander. I think Wind Commander's all funded as well already. Rifford.
Rifford Pifford. I'm pretty sure Forspoken was the first $70 game. Forspoken was the first one? That's funny that failed and still Bucky. Forspoken is just an asset flip. That's the funny part. Oh, it was so bad.
So how many Wind Commanders are there? 4?
So here you go, Kibbs. I'll post this in the stream room.
January
So
24th.
Kotaku actually wrote about this 2 years ago in 2022.
Okay, so the first ones to see release was in 2023, January 24th, from what we know, and then was written about and publicly a year prior.
All the way down. Let's scroll down.
Scroll all the way down. It was the latest one.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. Good job.
Yeah.
And those are the ones in the 2022. If you scroll down, there's a list of all of the ones that will cost more than $70.
Okay, so
or
it
more.
started in 2022. The first time I noticed was 2023, but then again, I didn't really buy any of these games. So
Yep.
I know I
God of
bought the
War.
Callisto Protocol December 1st. Yeah.
There you go. So those are that's when it started.
Oh, yeah, Wild Hearts. Yep, that one.
You're welcome. That was easy.
It's more or less been accepted in that case because Hogwarts Legacy, Dead Island 2 did okay. Skull and Bones did not. Wild Hearts, I don't even know.
Wild Hearts was I think there was actually there was Koei that made that.
Callisto Protocol did really poorly. Thank God.
But that was also E EA.
According to Brave, it was 2K21 in 2020. 2K21. Oh,
That's because
It's
it's
a
a
sports
sports
game.
game.
yeah, they can
Yep.
get away with it for sports games because sports games will just do well, period, because they're basically updated patch rosters with different stat values,
Yeah.
updated every year.
And they break any game that is older than it in the same line.
So you have to get new thing.
Yep.
It's basically a yearly subscription service.
I can almost guarantee you that like all these companies, at the very least, like they casually talk to each other. So I'm sure, even though Gotham Knights on this list is the earliest one, like people in the industry were talking about this before.
Yeah, there was the game should be $70 article that I can't find right now for some reason.
Legend of Zelda Tears of Kingdom was Nintendo's first 70, says Blake.
Wow.
Yeah, Wild Hearts was also a shit show of a launch.
It was. What was Wild Hearts? I didn't even remember.
It's a Monster Hunter-like that actually tried to innovate on the genre, but it seemed like EA forced them to launch it before it was even finished, and so it was effectively an early access game that ended. Then they dropped support for it because EA pulled the plug after a couple of months. And also, chat,
What?
don't forget that you can still get on the Avowed thumbnail.
Yeah, it's going to be more of a meme though. So yeah. It's gonna be more-
Fuzzy's already there. You don't want Fuzzy to be all alone, do you?
Fuzzy's Chatfish chat.
But I do.
Whoop. But I do. It would be funny if he was just the only Chatfish.
It's just Fuzzy, just in the
In
center.
an empty room looking sad. She's like, I wish I wasn't alone. The sad, fuzzy life. Can you believe that, chat? Do you feel fat? Fat. Do you feel fat, chat?
Fuzzy's. For being named Fuzzy, he's very smooth.
Very smooth. Very
What?
smooth little fish. Elaborate on that.
Okay.
We all have
Yeah.
thoughts.
Well, his head.
Yeah.
Well,
Smooth and like how?
yeah,
Yeah,
how would
what
you
way?
describe it?
Like bald, smooth, polished
weird.
head.
Uh-huh.
No,
You're not helping your case.
Yeah. So you felt his head and figured out it was smooth.
Wait, he goes on about it all the time, don't you know?
No, I don't.
No, I don't. I don't usually hear about that.
Weird.
Why would you be listening to it?
Look up Halo 2 Collector's Edition, says Space Monkey for $1.99.
No, I'm not gonna do that. No kidding. He's like,
Yes, what about the SNES games that were like $90 plus?
yes, we've already briefly mentioned that. I take it you just came here. So yes, way back when video games used to be expensive, but then the pricing went back down, and so that was a good thing. And the pricing was supposed to continually go down to like 40 or 50. But
As
that
technology got better at producing things,
because
cheaper.
technically it's cheaper to make games now than it ever was in the past, but they've managed to make ways to make this more expensive, such as hiring big name actors, hiring people that just do fucking nothing, like their HR or DEI departments. And
Yeah,
so
fuck those guys.
the fucking goddamn amount of inflation that has actually occurred has basically made it so that they're actually spending more money, despite the fact that the actual production of a game is actually cheaper now than it was in the past.
Was it Advanced Warfare that had the Jon Snow VA?
Probably. I have no idea. I hated Advanced Warfare to the point where I have actively blanked the memory.
Ooh, that's expensive. All right, I'm gonna show the bucket fishies and you because you're also my little guys.
In a few years, we'll have ads.
Look, you want an unopened Halo 2?
consoles?
Look at that.
Yeah, I can go get that. Is
Wow.
it the I Love Bees one?
I have no idea. It's $1,499 is what it is. Oh,
Yeah, what about it? You want me to buy that for you, Kibbs?
you don't? No, you do not. Oh my god, I'd hang myself.
Do it.
No, no. Don't get me wrong.
Easy.
The idea of becoming a video game collector is something I have planned for in my senior years.
Kids, you're already 30.
That is my. I know. We have to hurry up and become successful so that this can happen. So that this can...
Your peer group is the hag status, Kibbs.
It was Infinite Warfare, I believe. This
But yeah,
is
thank you for the nation, you little spunky monkey. Never refer to Space Monkey by his real name. Just call him Spunky Monkey. He really likes that. He DM'd me and said that we should keep doing that.
also on the topic of ads in games. I remember there was ads in Rainbow Six Vegas.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Yeah, they would have movie posters that they would
Oh,
online they would
upcoming
update.
games, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of quaint. Kind of quaint, but dumb. I take it that was to get ad space inside the video game. That seems like, god, that was
Yeah,
a waste of massive
probably.
money.
Yep.
Like the
But,
only
like,
thing
no,
I
that's
remember.
been a thing that they've tried many times over like for a long time.
Yeah, because then they can get ad revenue from how many people look at ads.
Yep. Because didn't Death Stranding have something similar to that with the Monster Energy drinks?
I think I heard about that, but I've never played it, so no idea.
Microsoft started the higher price trend with Halo 2. We're gonna have to type a little bit more than that because the only research we're talking about and the window we're talking about is $70, and the price hike isn't actually originally from Halo 2. It actually originates further back than that, because video games fluctuated since the creation of the Atari, and then the borderline death of the games industry, and then salvation that came through the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then Sega hopped on and created the first major console war between Sega's Genesis and Super Nintendo, and they duked it out.
Alan Wake had Energizer batteries.
Oh
the
yeah,
flashlight.
advertisements in games. Yeah, that's nothing insanely new.
Yeah.
Hell, video games being advertised in other places like Halo 3 and Burger King. I remember the big, large gulp cup
Or Mountain
thingy with it. Yep, Mountain Dew with Halo 3 gamer fuel. Now
Dorito
Mountain
Coke.
Dew does different types of gamer fuel, and Dorito chips do different deals with different studios, big AAA studios, to do certain coverage. Like, oh, if you buy some Mountain Dew boxes, they come with a bunch of keys and or whatever, and you generate enough points, you get like a thing, like a Mountain Dew item or something. That's called promotional stuff, and that stuff exists and is, in my opinion, more or less not very. It's not incredibly toxic on the thing unless it like locks like a part of the game behind it. Usually it's like a cosmetic or some shit that nobody cares about. Usually. What are you giggling about, you little giggly boy?
I'm just remembering all the Destiny promos from all the fucking Red Bull cans.
The less remembered about Destiny, the better.
Still fucking scarred by it. You ain't going to talk about Kip.
Oh, I can probably rant for hours about Destiny. No one wants that.
Everybody wants that. Destiny is a game. It isn't just a game. It's art. Just art.
Yeah, art. Like a trash can is art.
Well, that's not very nice.
Like a toy wedge in an art exhibit is art.
That's
Or banana taped to a wall.
The market
Or someone accidentally leaving their glasses on the ground.
But yes, to reel back our little podcast back on subject to the streamer tax. When it comes to the streamer tax stuff, it's just not a good thing for anyone in the industry. It's not good for the studio, but I don't know, it's good for profit margin. It's not good for the consumer, I think, in this particular case. Because the profits, yes, it'll help with, but it's usually to offset the fact that these studios are incompetent, and because they're losing out on a certain amount of sales, they need to compensate their sales some other way, because large portions of their player base have stopped buying their game. And when it came down to it, the decrease in price following the physical games back into the digital age is, well, that was a lie. That was a lie. I think that's safe to say. Is there any other topics that people would like to cover before we move on to the last topic of today's stream?
No, I think
Do you
that's
think the,
enough for me. Streamer tax.
If this fails, Kibbs, and the $70 gambit doesn't work, do you think they're going to start churning out just slop games at this point?
I mean, these studios are going to have to finally be confronted with the possibility they're going to have to cut things that are not necessary. Like, hey, maybe we don't need, like, mocap stuff all the time. Or maybe we don't need, like, a bajillion fucking, like, big Hollywood or
I actually
actors.
wish we'll get to that point, because some of the best games, the reason they had some of the mechanics they did were exactly because of limitations. The one that at least comes to mind first is Silent Hill's Fog. That wasn't because they wanted the fog. It's because their render distance was so shit they couldn't do it. So they came up with the fog as an idea, and it ended up working out really well.
Most of those limitations are more engine and hardware limitations that they have to work around, though.
But it's the same concept, right? Where it's
It
like,
is.
okay,
Limitation can breed innovation.
yeah, that's more what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You are correct, though. That stuff was a hardware limitation, whereas this, it would be more not necessarily hardware per se, but budgetary limitation.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Blake wants to express that he says get rid of gay tracing, which is hurtful and mean-spirited. We have to take a leave of that. But the graphics trend stuff, like ray tracing looks visually neat, I
That
guess.
ship has sailed now.
But is it? Are they
It's
finally
too
done?
late.
People
No,
like
no,
it.
no,
Is
no,
it
no. The ship has sailed because of the newest graphics card from NVIDIA.
It's all built
Have
in.
actually, it's all not only is it built in, they've optimized it to where ray tracing is viable through AI, super
Like
sampling.
upscaling. Oh,
They're
yes.
also doing AI generated frames.
Yep.
So your game won't run at 60 FPS, but you'll get AI to render extra frames so it looks like it's 60.
Yep.
That's going to be really weird, because it's still going to feel like whatever the game's actually going at, but it's going to look not. So that's going to be a weird mismatch between
The
what you're,
mechanics.
what it feels like the game's playing at versus what it looks like.
I
It's playing
don't
at.
like that.
No, it's going to be horrendous, actually.
Yeah, I don't think that's good.
It is why I've never liked the idea of like super sampling and shit like that, because like ultimately you still want the visual to match what your actual like feedback is, and if there's a mismatch in that, it's gonna either feel like the game's cheating you or something's off.
Yeah. Kib's eating more cookies or chips or something.
Firstly,
That was
that's
Artemis, actually.
Bucky stuffing his little Bucky squirrel mouth
Yes.
with nuts, big,
I'm eating
juicy
Wendy's.
nuts. Wendy's nuts?
I prefer to
Okay.
blame Kibs
He's like,
anyway.
no!
It's fresh tips, never frozen.
Yeah, you thought they're gonna go with the angle. It's like, something you can't get because you're poor.
Sit in the state. There you are.
Penny, though.
Oh, whoops.
Oh, he actually commented on Rumble. It's just
Yes.
it's like,
He
I
was
don't-
saying how...
My chat on Rumble was broken. That's why I didn't see it. All right, I refreshed it. He
Most-
says the streamer tax, they want to charge you extra advertise their games. Oh, he was asking questions. Well, I don't know how up to date you are with what's happening now, but now they're taking they're making story games that aren't fun to play. So it's more fun to watch someone else play it. I mean, what's funny is gaming as an industry. There are a lot of games that I played on stream that chat don't ever want to play. The big one is like Hearts of Iron. People love watching it, but
Fire
people
Warrior.
hate playing it. Fire Warrior, like bad games, good games. Sometimes people would rather watch someone play a game than actually play it themselves because it's too much of a hassle. I mean, that works out for me because that makes my career actually possible. But with that, I'm screwed. There, now you're on YouTube where you belong. He's like, yeah, look at him. Look at that guy. Grab him. But the best graphics trend we need to all come to accept, chat, together as one, okay, is PhysX. PhysX was not only amazing, okay, I will hear nothing. You know what? Let's see if I can get some references, okay? PhysX was not only amazing, you little chatfish bros, okay, but it was literally what we needed. Like, screw ray tracing.
Bring back PhysX.
I have no idea what that is.
Was it PhysX? I don't remember. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Let's see if I can get some videos of it. Because there have been graphics card trends, but ray tracing is nice, but PhysX is really, really cool. Oh, nobody's
instilling confidence in me right now.
Arlet gives a membership and hits Ian.
Wait. T-Presso, that's funny.
This is Chatfish in a cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
With a depressor on his head.
So what PhysX basically did is help create like particle simulation with like rocks and stuff and liquid, right? So here, I got a thing of it, but that's only it.
Then Rifford gives 25 or 5 memberships.
So this isn't the coolest thing, but this is PlanetSide 2 using PhysX.
He hits a hands.
Wow, the visual quality of this is absolutely terrible.
Nice.
I can't actually see what the fuck is happening. Okay, there we go. So PhysX would help with like things like particle effects, yeah. And that went for liquids and stuff, so there's what it looks like without PhysX, right? And PhysX on. Like, look at all that. The sparks and debris and chunks of steel blown off the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And so it created really cool effects. So that went for shooting or like on walls and stuff, because usually you just have like a little bit of mishmash, but then you'd create like particles. Like it would actually generate rocks and stuff that would actually be affected by the explosions and stuff like that. And it wasn't just the rocks or sparks or chunks of debris and like things like that. It was also blood. Blood would liquate, it would generate liquid and it would roll over things, and it was a little bit floaty with how the blood works, so not a lot of companies did that, but Borderlands 2 had PhysX as well, and it looks really cool. PhysX is just super cool looking, and why it makes it really cool and why I think it's a little bit more interesting than ray tracing, and ray tracing does help with visual aesthetic and flair, but PhysX really just adds a lot to combat and just like explosions and big battles and stuff. It makes it look more dynamic, you know? Exciting.
Yeah.
Chaotic.
PhysX is more interactable, while the ray tracing is not.
Ray tracing just helps with lighting and scenes. And while that is nice, it's not as related to it to video games, right? Because there you can see like the nanites actually like swarming around them because how PhysX works. And it just looks cool. It helps with spells, it helps with like science fiction abilities and stuff like that. Creating this really cool dynamic. It just looks awesome. I love it.
I remember you freaking out about, I think it was in Gears of War, some of the water.
So he says that CUDA cores are better than tensor cores.
Chaffers are looking at this, and their eyes are popping out of little sockets. Sometimes I forget what PhysX actually did for like games, but it was a bigger thing.
Was good.
Alright, let's see if I can find something else. GeForce Physics.
Jiggle PhysX.
Okay, so here's someone, MRCS's channel, because I'll cite them because they actually have the video. And this is like the blood. And this is really cool to see blood in video games where it would actually, now again, it's a bit too runny, but again, refining this technology would be really cool. And that was in Borderlands 2, because you can actually go into your graphics setting in Borderlands 2 and turn on PhysX. It just looks really cool. But my photorealism, fuck photorealism. I don't want photorealism. I want stuff like this, and I want like the liquids to be improved.
Photorealism is a trap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the issue is you will be forever chasing it.
Well, not only that, each data point you add to calculate is just another strain on your fucking
Processor.
Which is why we've got AI now faking it.
Yeah, which is why I said it's going to get to a point where there's going to be a desync between what the game is handling like versus what the game is looking like, which is just going to be awful.
Here's another game called Sacred 2, and it using physics as well. I don't know. I always thought the physics graphic stuff was super cool, and was way more interesting than ray tracing. Like, look at how it interacts with the environment, like the leaves and the rocks.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Really cool, Chatfish. A bit too bouncy with the rocks there, though.
So the question now becomes, what happened to physics? Why did it go away?
I think it's more or less incorporated into... I think games still use physics, I believe. It's just not as big of a focus anymore. Because I don't really remember seeing too much. Is Fizz...
Sacred Tuna, that's some real boomer shit. Sure, but the thing is, we're talking about like the chasing graphic stuff, and this kind of falls into that.
Yeah, physics is still used today.
It's just not as advertised anymore.
It's not advertised because it wasn't the big deal. Because what it basically is it uses the principles of, you know, Newtonian physics and how physics work. Newtonian.
Fuck.
No, 10.
But tongue twister.
Newtonian physics.
Newtonian physics. And the idea is that most games can now handle it. It's no longer required in special cards. But pushing physics and graphics was a big thing. And during this era, physics was the height of physics. This was to basically help companies not need to write their own physics engines. Because
it was just built in.
It takes a bajillion years to do it, and when you have an actual built-in functionality for it, now you can simulate like leaves interacting with wind or rocks interacting with, you know, explosions and how they would move, or literally the ability for blood to, you know, splurt and spool or splat all over the place. Or like water, because they have that in Borderlands 2 where like there's water leaking out of certain things and it's running down something and it's just being generated, and if you turn it off there isn't any, and just using it to help make the environment look more believable. Because in games like BioShock they do this as well, but not with physics. It's scripted water that's running down steps or downstairs, and so they had to manually like animate and make that for all those steps and staircases, because, you know, in Rapture, you know, it's an underwater city, and so there's a lot of leaks and water pooling and coalescing in areas, so they had to do that manually. But with things like physics, they could do that more naturally and more uniquely across the board, because you could make more of that, and then because of how the physics works is it would simulate it, so that way you wouldn't need to uniquely animate it each time you did something. You know what I mean? Which takes a lot of resources and a lot of animation time to do that for set pieces.
So what Kibbs is saying is that it's not necessarily that physics has gone away. We just haven't had a breakthrough in innovation like physics.
Yep, because all we have now is lighting, and lighting is like the big focus right now with ray tracing. And while that is an improvement graphically, and we're marching forward, it's also just like it's not as exciting because it doesn't really affect the gameplay. Only if it's like gotten dynamic lighting at night, or like nighttime battles with like tracer rounds and stuff like that, does that actually look really cool.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. We should play Silica if we get the new graphics cards.
Jesus Christ.
The fucking tracer rounds, that's always funny. That looks really good at night because of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the best memories we have of Silica are the first time that we were doing that big night map, and I had those roaches that shot those like crystal thing, or I think they were bees or whatever.
Hmm.
That was like the coolest shit in that game.
I remember using the siege tank to fucking
I
fire
wonder if
across the mountain.
Silica's had any decent content update.
The flying one was the last one, but I don't remember. At least
It was
per-
also buggy and not well done,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I don't think I was there to really check that out. But that's the
Gibbs is
last.
the last one to play it.
Yep, it was in an alright state, but there just wasn't enough of us to try it.
We'd
have to organize a bigger event.
12 years, says Rifford. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yep, and what's funny is that when Borderlands 2 and some of those games use the liquid blood physics stuff, that disappeared. I haven't seen physics used on blood or any sort of liquid physics at all, and I think that's a missed opportunity for combat or fighting, right? It's like, imagine like shooting an alien like in Halo and seeing like the blood like spurt and splat all over the wall, you know, and it's like blue and then interacting color mix and stuff. It would look cool and grotesque and violent, and it would be really cool to see. Or like in Doom, you know, blood, like you kill a monster and you can see its blood like, you know, running down the steps. That just looks really cool when you see it in those games that use it. And I really wish they would start using that, because that just makes fighting in video games more kinetic. Like if Helldivers had that with like the oil for the machines or the blood from the Illuminate or the insects, I think that would actually make the game look really good and even better.
I don't know
your
if
character is
Helldiver's engine
splattered
could
with
really handle that.
The character is splattered with blood at the end of the game, but I don't know whether or not it actually shows you get covering with that stuff.
I believe it's a sort of texture is what that is.
Yeah.
Blake says, I remember Cryostasis had melting ice effect on walls that looked so tasty.
All right. Okay. You're weird. No, I'm kidding.
T Presso is talking to Harlot, loves to be choked, and Harlot's asking who T Presso is.
It's all Harlot.
I know. I'm just watching the schizophrenic
Personality A attack personality B.
Stone Age donates €10. Streamer tax is when you give Kib money.
Damn.
Oh, all right, chat. So I lied. Now that I've tricked, how many of you? Let's see, about almost 100 of you into coming into my stream. You may now all pay your streamer tax collectively and as one now. I will sit here and wait patiently for that to roll in. And
since you're doing this,
I'll-
and since I gave so much money recently, I demand to be nobility in this new kingdom.
You're right. Hands should be put on the avowed thumbnail.
Yes, I think it
I
is
don't think I
time to
should.
pay the tax. Oh God, where's that fucking song? Tax collector.
Tax collector.
Fucking.
Hold on. I should still have the original.
First off, if I were to be on any thumbnail, I have to check the aesthetics. Does it meet my personal tastes? Probably not.
I don't. It doesn't appear chat's particularly, convinced about my streamer tax idea. What's wrong, chat? Why aren't you jumping at the bit?
See, chat. do the Uno Reverso and actually go through with it, and everybody start donating, and then it'll make you feel like shit. There it is.
My tax says opossum for $5.
Thank you for your donation. By the way, I'm joking,
Oh, that's the-
Chatfish.
No,
just for anyone-
no, chat. Don't pretend like he's joking.
Don't let him bully you into thinking otherwise.
Don't let him deceive you.
No, I'm sorry. Looking at these aesthetics, this is not me. No, I'm not on the avowed thumbnail.
Coward.
I'm sorry. I have a very particular sensibilities, like liking automatons and like undead shit.
You're not dead shit. Fair enough.
It's
There
like
you
just weird.
go.
Look,
Here you
I'm
go,
one of those
Tibbs.
people, and I admit this, that I like weird, creepy shit. I'm not a normal person.
Both Tepresso and Harlot both say give receipt.
Give receipt.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're using their memberships.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Good.
those are disciples
Loyal.
of Squeck, not
Loyalty.
bubble cultists. So those are ones they pay for.
He just wants Sandwich to be in the lead again.
Damn. Well, it looks like Sandwich is winning.
So we add those Kibbs, right?
Yep, we do. That's 30
Well, not
pounds.
Revolutionize the idea
All
by
right.
adding chat.
Oh look, chat's doing it, Kibbs.
So
You're
Jana,
paying up the tax they owe.
Jana, I just want to point this out. So chat are yellow, right? What is a game we've played recently where in a faction that has, I'll just word very strong yellow theming, revolting. How does that turn out for them? The answer is not well.
The yellow turbans is what he's getting at, chat.
You see, I was hoping to be smart enough to figure it out
No. Why? Why'd you hope that?
because he played it recently, and like for 5 hours, it was nothing but yellow turbans. Actually, no, even longer than that, because there's yellow turban cells. Yeah, for lack of a better word, that are left after that.
Tips, if they had to pay taxes, can they also file a tax return?
Get out. Let's not complicate this.
Todd donates $5, says, here's my food money.
No,
With a
no.
sad face.
Now you see,
Todd
Kibbs, which would
Lee.
you feel? Kibbs, which would you feel worse about? Someone giving you their food money or their bus money?
I mean, walking is good for them. Walking-
What if it's a 3-hour bus ride?
You know, they say walking is good in 3-hour distances.
See, chat, you know what the great thing is that I know Kib still hasn't fixed his front headlight.
I haven't.
It's rear.
Oh,
Or
rear
no, is it
headlight?
front?
No, it's
I thought it
front.
was rear.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hands, why are you trying to gaslight people into the wrong answer?
You may kill
Maybe
Hands.
because I thought it was funny. Maybe because I forgot. Who knows?
The world's a mystery.
Yep. Tie goes in,
All right,
tie goes
Chad.
out. You can't
You
explain
better
it.
actually not be donating. And I noticed that it's $5 increments, so this is part of the gag meme.
Chat, he's right. You need to do weird increments like 524.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
Go
afford
ahead,
this,
do
but
it.
here you go, my liege. May the Crub Lord guide you on your way. You shouldn't donate if you can't afford things, and don't say that either.
He can't afford it, Kibbs. You asked for taxes. I can't believe you're taxing people
Chat
who
may
can't
go
afford
hungry, but at least kids will not. Oh my God! Stop it.
it.
Stop.
Wow.
Gibbs, give
Florio-
cheeks and chat's soul is yours.
Oh my God.
Florio says for 24 Donkey Kong dollars or whatever the fuck. Chat give tax. Chat expect cheeks, and then it has cake and a peach.
That's cake and a peach. Well, you know, I'm glad. I know, but you explaining that really just adds an extra layer of depth to that.
Oh look, Kibbs. Steph Invest has been a sulfur miner for 13 months.
He has been. I do like how he has socketless chatfish eyes.
Harlot Houdini on Rumble gives $2. Here you have my grots.
Well, thank you for the donation. Very generous.
Wow, Kibbs, I can't believe you've extorted your chat for money like
It
this.
was a joke. They weren't supposed to actually donate.
I can
Weren't
believe it.
supposed to-
Eh,
Oh yeah, no, Kibbs. You know what they say about people who tell jokes, right?
Oh my God, Splunk Jammer, no! Oh my-
Sorry, kids. My favorite streamer needs to eat. You'll just have to go hungry.
Sorry, kids.
Kibbs, imagining chat telling their
That's horrible.
plushies. Let's keep it real. Not children. They're plushies. Look, I can't feed you today.
No,
Grinch
worse. They're
Donates
dogs.
$2. Here
Oh,
is my
yeah.
tax, my lord.
All
I
right.
also did put the tax collector.
Next model we
Voice
need to
line.
fund is a
IRS agent.
feudal lord or an IRS agent.
Is the
outfit.
obese taxman with a sack of gold?
That could be a good January skin to have. An IRS agent's outfit.
January. Well,
Wait,
Kibbs,
Yeah, Jesus.
Next year.
so
Okay.
ambitious.
Plans for future. Plans.
You know what, Kibbs? We'll make that the next year's thing.
Yeah.
Harlot does one cheer on Twitch.
One
I'm guessing
cheer.
that's a single.
Penny. And I
a
bet it evaporates.
single, bit.
Oh yeah, you got a good thing you're monitoring Twitch. I almost forgot to mention that. I only have enough
Yeah, it is
monitors
one Twitch
for
bit.
everything except
I'm
Twitch.
monitoring Twitch, Rumble, and YouTube.
Good.
Look, Kibbs, Vulpes has been a member for 41 months as a disciple of Squack. Faithfully paying my tax already, and then with the dead fish.
Good. Good. All right, Chad. Come on, we can calm down now. We can
No,
calm down.
they gotta read him, Kibbs.
Well.
I don't eat that much
Investment
nowadays anyway. Some
50
more
Donkey
tax.
Kongs.
Oh my God,
Have my
Frederick.
socks money.
Oh, thank you for the donation. Thank you for the donation, Frederick and Stephen and Vulpus. Everyone, I appreciate it. But bear in mind that you guys need to. I know you're just fucking with me, chat.
No, they're not.
They've
They're
gotta
really gonna
be-
feed that kid cardboard because
Really
really
gonna-
want taxes.
That'd be awful. That would be fucking dead kid in closet because he hung himself.
And they would still pay you
Rip.
taxes after that.
It's a late- Oh my God, no! It's like when they gift memberships and it lands on a certain somebody. Ooh.
Yeah.
NWO fit Kibbs and sandwich. Okay.
Thank you
Well,
for your
yes.
generous donations, chat. I
I
really
can't believe
appreciate
this is the way you make the weekly.
To ensure that Kibbs can't weasel out of this little joke, Kibbs is talking about new model for end of January. Okay.
New
She
model
knows now.
idea.
No. New model by end of January.
All right. Well, I have something to pull up because I just received something from like I just stuttered there like a muppet. What's the name of that game we had? Kingdom Come. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that still because we have yet to do that. And then we also have not a fan art, but a thing from Beefios, El Biffonator.
Baffios?
The Polish guy who does the little people.
Poland's most feminine femboy.
Baffios. Damn.
I don't know. He plays dwarves in WoW.
Exactly.
Femdwarves.
Poland's most.
No. You're right. He's compensating for something else.
Exactly.
What? I'm not
Okay,
subscribed
Dragon
to
Lord then
Beefios.
gives $19.99. Fine, take my money, tax man.
Thank you for the donation. Very generous. Dragon Bro. It's okay. We take it from Dragon Lord. He hasn't donated in a while.
Volpus donates
Yes,
5
it's
euros
donated.
and says, "But here's my bunch cast tax." # cookie.
Thank you for the donation. Yes, of course. We can't forget that we have to separate streams to individual stream taxes. I almost forgot that key important detail.
Don't worry, chat. Now you need to pay your bunch cast tax.
Don't forget about your Halo 3 community event.
Remember,
to get in the
chat,
door, you have to pay the
chat,
cover
more-
charge.
Chat, remember, the more money you pay, the more the better
Well-
likelihood of you getting in the game.
Better likelihood? It's like a
Harlot
fucking-
loves, to be whatever, says gifted 1 membership.
Oh, it's got
Wow,
Bieber
Gibbs.
music. Hold on.
And when will this model be available, Gibbs?
Technically it's done. We just need to fix our website because there's some, how do we say, in the back end of things. We gotta find somebody to manage the website stuff. So here we go. YouTube. Oh, it's for YouTube Kids. Wow, Baffios. He's a kids channel.
Lots of pointy bits for the children.
Yes, in the eyes.
No, this is devious, actually.
Oh,
It's in the kids section.
so apparently
It's
Robert
cool
made
on-
special music for this as well. So here
Hmm.
we can
Yeah,
demo
this
off.
is-
Before you play it,
Well,
read Spider Pig's donut.
Spider Pig donates $5.26 and says, "Here is Conus's and Chow's share of the taxes. We better return the Beano and Shoblin to containment. Also, can we tar and feather the squirrel? No, you may not tar and feather I almost call them Skittles. A fucking Bucky."
That means Skittles is still on the menu.
I feel
chat.
bad for any other squirrel personality that ever joins your fucking community.
Well, we only have one. It's you.
For now.
I know.
You're gonna multiply?
Yeah, I went to your mom's house yesterday.
Damn. Rude.
Which one?
Damn. That's true. That's true.
Yes,
That's true.
I ate some of the jerky you brought your dad.
Dang. Food stolen.
Humanity restored.
So, Kibbs, I'm going
You know what? Did he cut out for you guys?
Yes,
yes,
he
he
did.
did.
Oh,
But you also-
Discord.
your
Discord
stream
shit
lag.
itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Say again, Hans.
I said that Jano posted this in the Bickering Bunch discussions.
Posted what?
And he put it in the stream room.
But where else would I put it?
This is good fan art. Please help! I have a hungry cat to have to feed. Okay, you can move the cat part's already kind of like a little inaccurate, but the trap part is definitely very.
The text he put with that is state of chat tomorrow.
State of chat tomorrow.
Okay, kids.
There's also the tax collector clip
Yeah,
voice line.
Make
if
sure
you
to
wanna-
read Spider Pig's thing.
Did I not finish it? Also,
You
can
did
we
read
tar
it.
and feather the
You
squirrel?
did.
Oh my God, Bucky,
Yeah,
you've
you
got
read the whole
Alzheimer's.
thing.
Bucky, I'm so sorry, Bucky.
No, I need you to read it one more time, but I want you to think about something.
Here is Conus's and share and shows and chows. I don't know why that was hard. Share of the
Jesus
taxes. We
He's
better
getting worse.
We better return the Beano and the Shoblin to containment. Also, can we tar and feather the squirrel?
So, chat, because you want to return Beano and Shoblin to containment, we will be banning the free Beano Unchained art pieces from now on.
Damn.
All right, deleting the free Beano fund that has
Yep.
Is,
$230 in it.
is there a reason for
Yep,
this
you
behind
could
the scenes that
blame
I don't know?
Spider Pig.
Okay, this is a joke.
No.
Okay. I didn't know if this
we're
is like a
blaming
legit
Spider
thing.
By the way,
Pig.
chat, free Beano is $70 away from being finished.
Yep, and if you don't do it
Beano
today,
Yinlet is $98 away from being finished.
yeah, you can blame Spider Pig if it's not funded today.
Oh, you gotta fund
Or
those
remove it.
today. Chat, you gotta hurry. Chat just stares at me like, we just fucking donated and then you say that
All right,
after.
kids, you got to read that for Florial.
Fleur. It's spreading. More
yeah,
cheek
I can't. I'm
tax.
busy adding it.
Notices bulges. Or bulge. Now Gib cheeks. Cake and peach. Florial, sit in your little corner. And stay there. Forever. Stay there.
Sits there, just holding a peach, caressing the peach.
Little cake, but it's like off to the side, and his fat belly's like rubbing against it a little. Those got a little bit of cake, you know, cream on him or something. I don't know.
Yes. So, Gibbs was channeling Squealy. That study line.
Professor Squill. A squirrel.
Okay, now you're just being simple, Jack. You're being simple, Kib.
Oh, damn.
We need to get you
Yes,
the buck
it's-
teeth.
That wasn't
Damn.
necessarily fan art. That was actually a purchased Chatfish.
All right.
Yep.
Now, let's play this video for Baffios.
Mhm.
The new minis will be added to the site in
And Robin.
a time.
Or Robert, or whatever.
Damn. Whatever even.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Those minis should look pretty
Mhm.
snazzy.
I believe that's music for, or at least from the Turgid War tracks.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's very good. You did
Or
a good
it's
job on those.
similar.
They turned out very nice. The chainmail on them even looks even more impressive. The fact that there's chainmail texture.
The fact that they're unique models from each other is good.
Yep. So they're actually unique poses.
That's our heavy cavalry.
They look so cute. Liacs are adorable.
And oh, you're not gonna call them like dragoons or something, Gibbs?
What, the actual cavalry unit name?
No.
Oh, fuck, I don't know. I have to go look at the linguistics doc.
They don't have.
I had to
one
do that
yet.
the other night. What was it? I had to come up with a new unit because Chumba was fucking like, "Okay, I want a name for this thing." And I'm just like, as I was trying to work on something. So I had to stop what I was doing. And I had to open up the language doc and I had to like find words, if we had any words, to figure out what a fucking that thing would be called.
Like how you throw me under a bus when all I was like, hey, what's the name of this?
Well, I don't know.
Literally all I asked.
The only thing we talked about
Do you
when we
have
designed
a,
it is we had the
right
idea of it, and then we didn't have a name yet.
Do you have an XL? Do you have an XL that has like Asherin to English? And you
Yes,
can just hit
we have that for
Control
every
find.
language, thank God. Control F is my friend, because it became Hekajado, which is basically Hek is kill, and Ejado is like to dance or celebrate. And because it's literally one of Bajaro's summons, it's a what are they called? Killing dancers. Fuck, I already forgot
I'll
the
bring
name.
it up. I'll find it.
But yeah, they are basically like dancers they're basically flowers that dance, but they wear armor and they slice things in half with their little swords. Because not every god has like a unique combat spell. Some don't even have combat spells. But,
Killing dancers.
Yep, that's the translation. So yeah, new entity. We're finally getting to the spiritual and monsters finally. So there's actually going to be some exciting things. Humans are exciting too. I love you humans, but sometimes we need a little break from humans. Now, chat bros. What was I going to say? Oh yes, the final topic of the stream before we get segued. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 comes out in 2 weeks. There was a little bit of drama, but we're only going to talk about what we know about it. And the reality is, the big thing I want to say right off the bat is, don't jump down the developer's throat. Don't jump on anything right away. Just be patient. This is one of those cases, again, where it's a lot of he said, she said bullshit, and a lot of people making stuff up, trying to stir up drama, and it's all coming out to be mostly fake for the most part. So just kind of ignore the drama for now, but wait till the dust settles. And for those who aren't aware, it's basically about something along the lines that there's a gay scene in the game where you could choose to be gay, right? Now, we already know from the first game that Henry is heterosexual and, courts a woman and does stuff with the lady, right? And there's even like a romance in this game too. But people were like, oh, it's an unskippable gay cutscene or something like that. And then that's why it got banned in Saudi Arabia. But as it turns out, Saudi Arabia didn't ban the game, actually. That's all a fabrication. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of gaslighting going on, probably both ways, and we don't know for sure until the game comes out. So don't just jump to the conclusion because someone puts out a title like, oh, it's woke garbage now, or oh, it's the most based game ever. It's like, well, it's not even out yet. We have to see.
Yep. The big thing with these kinds of things is whenever you see something like this pop, what they're trying to do is they're trying to emotionally bait you into a reaction, whether positive or negative towards the game, to try to isolate things. The big thing you need to take away from here is ignore, pretty much ignore any of the, the clickbait streams or videos on this topic, and just wait till the dust settles, till the facts come out. Because when these things happen, what do they call them, Bucky? The people that make things right away to rage bait, right? Rage baiters?
The rage baiters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in
Clickbait.
in this particular case, we just ignore it and we wait patiently for it to come to light. Because I honestly think that's more or less nothing.
Boring. Hot takes.
You like hot takes? Is that why you're saying boring?
Yeah. You need to give your best Canadian opinion, Gibbs.
I think that gay stuff is gross. There. My hot take of the
You
day.
think that's a hot
That's
take?
a Canadian.
I think that's a hot take. For some people, it is. Some people. Game journalists take you up the ass. Chatfish, oh my god. Sometimes Chatfish are retarded, but I like them.
Have they explained why the character now wants a gay relationship?
I have no idea. I don't even know what that's about.
I didn't
if
even
this is-
see if it was Henry necessarily.
Yeah, I
that
don't
was
really know. I just
engaging in
have
it.
no clue, honestly.
What if it's the Iceman thing from X-Men?
What do you mean?
When
Elaborate.
they went forward in time and found out that Iceman was in a gay relationship and he was happy, and then his younger self sees this, and then they go back to the present day, and then as he went about trying to hit on girls and make jokes, chick's like no, and like in public in front of the entire class, it's like no, you're gay in the future, and she was like pushes him to be like out himself as gay and to like fucking mentally scar him or whatever into just admitting it
What the fuck would
or
that's
come
fucking
to terms with it.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Psychological trauma. All right.
Because they don't have a they would need to come up with a really good explanation of why, unless he just like, I was lying to myself the entire time, I didn't really want her and I felt nothing in it or whatever.
Yeah, that happens. We're those kinds of
Great
people.
brainwashing Iceman.
Chatfish are weebs. I'd rather be retarded than a sellout for pennies. See, I just like reading Chatfish things, but with their voice.
What would be a gain by lying about this game for once? Well, games journalists despised the first game.
Yeah,
because
so there's.
they wouldn't do woke stuff.
I mean, it's a good question to ask, Leo. So the big thing is that usually there's always an agenda here, right? Now, the agenda here in particular is that this game got a lot of flack originally because the developers refused to alter Bohemian history and have diverse characters. They're all Bohemians for the most part, with the occasional foreigner, but the foreigners are Magyars, which are, Hungarians, or they're like, other Germans, like from the Germanic city-states surrounding them in the Holy Roman Empire. So it's not really like diversity that they want, which is the diversity of like skin color. It's the diversity of these actual cultures, interacting with each other, because Bohemia is smack dab in the middle of Europe. And for those who don't know what Bohemia is, the Kingdom of Bohemia, just look at Czech Republic. That is Bohemia in the modern day era. And so that particular nation was a part of the Holy Roman Empire, and so it's on the fringes, and it was always getting annoyed by the little Magyars to the south. Would go like wee, and they'd raid them. Little annoying little shits. But yeah. It's one of those things where there's something to be gained, because it could be a journalist attempting to smear campaign the game by smear campaigning it against people who might like it, who might be right leaning, right? But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, who cares? Like, you don't have to be gay in the game as far as I'm aware, so not like they're forcing you. If it's just a character choice for you as the player to choose which characters you prefer, then sure, whatever. Or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. So I don't know. And allegedly you can skip cutscenes anyways, and that's a core mechanic, so that sounds like a lie, so I don't know.
It's once again both ways. I've heard you can skip cutscenes, and I've also heard it. Oh no, it's confirmed you can skip cutscenes. So like, it's just we're hearing it both ways. So it's just a lot of gaslighting and misinformation being thrown around what the game actually is.
Polish fish are looking at their Czech brothers and like, hungry.
So what is the overall thing? Wait and see what happens?
I would say in this particular case, wait and see.
Probably.
It's probably the safest, because again, the game comes out in 2 weeks, right? And the dust will have settled in like a couple days. It always
Let's
does.
go down, Gibbs.
Mhm.
What versions of the game?
So there are two versions. There's your standard $60 price tag, which is the norm. I personally am always against $60. I think it should be $50, but such is life. But yeah, so here's what the base game offers. It's just a base vidya. The bonus offers Huntsman kit, 3 expansions, and the Shield of Seasons passing. So basically, some cosmetics and an expansion pack.
And then you can buy the expansion and cosmetic packs on their own.
Or I think you can just upgrade the edition later. Like most games, if you just buy it and you like it, you can
what's with
buy
the
it later.
dark brown option?
The dark brown was the season pass.
Oh, that's the season
Yeah.
pass. So if you buy the season pass after it launches, it doesn't come with the Gallant thing. The only thing unique to the gold edition is the Gallant thing. The season pass
Which
will
will
come with
probably
the
be
other
a
things.
separate thing later.
Yep, they'll cut it and make the season pass a separate purchase. Is how they normally work with this stuff.
Chat, we're only $52 away from making Gibbs free terrible fanfics.
Or to do this to me. Now the more important
Because you agreed to
true.
it.
But yeah, here you can even see Henry, and there is romance, but that is definitely a female character. I will hear none of this. Turns out you like, she pulls back and some mustache. I'm like, damn, I guess I was wrong. I guess I was wrong.
That's a man, baby.
It's like, holy shit. Live the tale of Henry Skalitz, who's on a journey. Now, I wasn't a big fan of the first game, but it was a bit rough around the edges and had a bit of a rough launch with its optimization. But this one, from the trailers, it looks a lot more polished and refined. So they basically taken the first game and polished it quite a bit. I think it's worth keeping an eye on. I mean, I'm intending to actually play this one because
I'm definitely interested, but I haven't even finished the first game, so I have no desire to get the second to at least finish
The issue is
first.
I'm never going to beat the first one because the first one's janky.
Not only that,
Mm.
unironically, the sword mechanics, like, you don't actually get access to them until like a decent ways into the game.
Henry has to learn first.
That's why I'll be okay with this one, because this one you're gonna already know how to use your sword instead of having
Apparently,
to play.
I do remember
hours.
reading part of the thing is like, because you will have to relearn things because it's apparently been some time since Henry actually did any kind of adventuring. Is what I remember reading about it.
You know, it'd be an interesting thing. The difficulty, basically, there's going to be like his baseline stats, and the difficulty is like how much the stats are getting reduced.
Yeah, like how long has it? How obese and out of shape has Henry become? Is there difficulty?
Where it's like,
Oh my god, you start on hard and you're just morbidly obese? What the
You're
fuck?
just a fat guy who can't even run.
he starts talking and he just sounds like Jabba the Hutt.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun medieval themed RPG, from what it looks like.
I mean, if it's as immersive as the first game was trying to be, it'll be at the very least, a fun experience, like just to walk around.
Hmm. But yeah, I think that concludes pretty much everything in today's little bunchcast. Today was going to be a bit of a shorter bunchcast because I wanted to cover the streamer tax thing because of the Avowed launch. It just brought it into the forefront, and it wasn't a big subject, but I wanted to smash it out of the way. So yeah, thank you again, chat bros. Let me just check all the back end stuff. We will be doing a Halo 3 community event today. You are all welcome to come play. If you would like. If you don't, no worries. I'll just, feel sad about it later. But, yeah. Let me just check. Check. And we are golden there. I do love how these
Yeah, any
softwares
stream
move
elements or
forward.
Streamlabs.
That's what I'm doing. I love it. I love how this software is so good. Actually, it's a website, it's not a software. I think it should be Henry Jr. just starting out. Well, I think they should, finish the other guy's story first, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Henry's story's not done.
Yeah, he's gonna become king. No,
That'd be quite the jump in position.
I mean, if I remember right, in the first game, there is an option for you to, bang a duke's daughter or something like that.
Goddamn.
Oh, Henry does get around.
Henry's a little bit of a...
So, depending on how he positions things, he could get reasonably high up in the hierarchy. And again, it's not a guaranteed thing. You could also do the thing, if I remember right, for that decision to not do that. But there's also the option for him to take advantage.
For the Halo 3 community event, no, you will not need any mods from the sounds of it. It'll just be a sort of a casual event. Either way, I think this will wrap up today's stream. Thank you for your generous donations. We've almost made today's goal, and we will see you in a little bit. I will have to go to the grocery store and grab some things, but we'll see you guys in the next stream. Take care and have a great day.
See ya.
Later.